Hey guys, Theron Asbury here with Revital Outdoors, bringing you another exciting podcast. Tonight we have Mr. Justin Swayze. Justin and I have been friends for many, many years. I met him while I was in college in Arkansas at Henderson State University. Justin last year fished the BFL Arkie division for Major League Fishing. He got a top 25 finish on Lake Ouachita, so we're very excited to have him on tonight. We're going to talk about Lake Ouachita, what he knows about Lake Ouachita. He's going to give away all of his waypoints to all of his brush piles, and we're just going to do it up. No, just kidding. But we're going to have a great podcast with him. Before we get started, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube page if you haven't already. That way you're notified when all of our podcasts are dropping. We got a lot of great content coming in the future, so you're definitely going to want to be subscribed. And then if you've never heard of Revital Outdoors, be sure you check out our website. We're a premium CBD company. We're THC free, made right here in America. Great products for all the different things that happen out there for avid outdoor anglers and hunters alike. We have a great product to help you be more comfortable doing or in the field doing what you love to do. So that being said, let's not halt this anymore. I'm really excited. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Mr. Justin Swayze. How you doing, buddy? It's been too long.
Doing good. How you been, man?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. We gotta start out this right. You know, you're a hell of an angler. You got a great family. Your son's name is Triton.
Yeah, Triton Swayze. Yes.
Yeah, so through and through, like fishing is just what you do, man. When you're not working, when you're not with the family, you're off fishing, and you just love to go fishing and have fun at it.
Yeah. We my wife, so she was like, "What are we gonna name our kid?" And like early on in the pregnancy, and I was going fishing that day, and I was like, "We can just name him Triton because everybody names their kid Ranger, but we have a Triton, so we'll just do that." And it just was a joke, and then it stuck, and he's definitely a Triton. He's a good kid.
For sure, for sure. Have you got him driving your boat yet?
Man, he's like, I don't know. He doesn't want to drive the boat. He's kind of standoffish a little bit on stuff like that. Like he doesn't like getting wild. It's like, Dad,
Right.
slow down. What are you doing?
Well, I can definitely attest to that because you're going to get every mile per hour and RPM out of that boat that you can.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. You know, one of the coolest things about fishing with you, and we'll get to Lake Ouachita in a minute. You know, you and I fished several times when I was in college, and we practiced together for some of the BFLs. Is man, you're what a lot of anglers need to be reminded of what the sport's all about. You're out there to have fun. It's not about the sponsors. It's not about always having the GoPro on your chest and got to do this, got to take a picture and all that. Man, you just go have fun. And you're so laid back. And I don't want to say you don't care, but like you're just out there for Justin.
Yeah,
You know?
you gotta go. You gotta catch the biting fish, and you just gotta send it. Like, I don't need a jersey. I don't need any of that stuff. I just need to go have a good time, and whatever kind of fish is biting, that's what we're gonna catch. If we're bass fishing and we start catching hybrids or stripers or whatever, we get a little off course, but you know.
I remember you and I fishing a BFL tournament that we were practicing on Lake DeGray in Arkansas.
Yeah.
And the hybrids came up. It was
Yeah.
it was a later tournament in the year. The hybrids came up busting, and you're like, "Come on, man, we got to go after them." I'm like, "Dude, we're practicing." They're like, "Forget all that, man. We're gonna go have some fun."
Yeah.
Like, so
Put them in the boat.
Yeah, put them in the boat. And they're really good to eat too. A lot of people don't think you can eat those hybrids, but they're really good to eat. Also, they're really good for a fish fry. So, well, man, talk to us a little bit about Lake Ouachita. Last year, top 25 finish, no surprise. You've done really, really well in Lake Hamilton, Lake Ouachita, Lake DeGray, but you've always seemed to do very well on Lake Ouachita. So, talk to us about what happened. I mean, did you practice? Did you just go out and have fun, fish what you had history in, or what ended up happening?
Oh, man, I practiced a little bit, and I just kind of went fishing that day. I've got a lot of brush piles marked. I've got a lot of stuff. I've spent a lot of time up there, just in the boat on the graph looking for fish. And we were talking about catching stripers, and I had got into those like the week before and just caught a bunch of them, and there were bass with them, and they were around brush piles in an area that I like. So I kind of know that's what you got to do this time of year. You got to kind of, well, one, you got to play the weather. If it's warm, sunny, windy, I mean, you got to go to the bank. But it was slick, dead calm. It had gotten colder, and I went out through the A rig over brush piles and just targeted fish. And I caught a bunch of fish on the tournament day. I probably caught 40 keepers. I mean, I was catching them 2, 3 at a time. We can only have 3 hooks, and I was catching them, but you had to put that A rig right by them. And I did that for most of the day, and then the last couple hours I went to the bank and tried to do my thing, and that's where you get your big ones, And it didn't happen. It was a really good tournament. I caught every fish pretty much a bit, but I think I had 12 and a half. I never had a big bite though.
Were you catching a mixed bag of spotted bass and largemouth?
Yes, I was catching a lot of spots. There are a ton of spots in that lake.
Oh, Lake Ouachita's full of spots. Like I've seen anglers actually. I'm kind of near and dear to the fish. The largemouth, the spotted bass, and all that. And if there's other fish to eat, in my opinion, but when I see people leaving the boat ramp with a limit of 12-inch spots to go have a fish fry, I'm like, okay, you go have fun with that. Like there's just too many of them out there.
Yeah, it's loaded. I mean, there's like in the summertime, there's points, and there's just thousands of them, and you can catch them one right after another. I remember we had a tournament late in the year, and it was another day. I caught 40 or 50 keepers. I think I caught 75 fish that day. I had a little fish counter. That's the only time I'd ever caught that many fish, and I caught them I was catching them every single cast. I weighed in 9 pounds. I mean, they're tiny.
Jesus,
they're
dude.
like 12, 13 inches left and right, and I can't stop. Once I get in them, I just got to catch them till they stop biting.
Right. No, you got to have fun with it. So talk to us about these brush piles. Were they relating to, first question is, were these brush piles on main lake points, secondary points, back in the pocket, in a ditch? Where did they set up where these fish it was loaded on them?
Man, so there's one area that I really concentrate on. I just picked it. Lake Ouachita's so big. You've got to pick an area. You can't run to one end to the other or pick around. So I scanned, and it's a main lake. There is some secondary, it's not much off the lake, it's not much back in creeks or anything, but it's pretty much main lake stuff. Brush piles in 25 foot of water, and I know it really well. And that was the key, just doing that. And to me, you almost got to get lucky when you're doing that. You got to hit a brush pile with a 5-pounder or 8-pounder, a big one in it. And I think they're there. But I swear sometimes those small ones are more aggressive, and that's the ones you catch. You throw in there and you catch 2 13-inch spots on an A-rig, and the big one, he's just not as aggressive.
Right. So no, that totally makes sense. So on this A-rig, I gotta ask. I know we have the BFL rules and all that, but are you a Key Tech guy? Do you throw the diesel minnow from Z-Man? Do you throw the Shadowlicious from Strike King? Like, what do you got on the back of it?
I'm a Key Tech. I think I don't really know that it matters.
I don't think it does.
You can throw about anything. I stick with I've got 2 colors of Key Tech, and that's all I buy. I don't like having a lot of stuff in my boat when I'm fishing. 2 colors, and if they're not biting that, then I'm not catching them. And that's just.
Do you have more than 2 colors of anything in your boat?
I don't know. I got some dipping dye. We can change the color.
That's awesome, dude.
We can put some orange or green on the tail and see what they like. It's whatever,
Right,
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It looks like a minnow. No. That's what they're eating shad. So just throw a shad.
Yeah. I mean, you keep it simple, man. I remember going through your crankbait box one time, and you had crawfish, red, not orange, red, brown. It's just red. And you had sexy shad. And you don't. And you're like, what more? How much more effort do you want to put into this? They're going to bite one or the other. They're not going to bite, and I got things to do.
You got to get it. You got to get it like that.
For sure.
Just go down. When you're fishing a crankbait, you got to get it in front of them, and they're either eating shad or they're eating red. I mean, and everybody in Arkansas has been on this red, and I don't know why they eat it. They eat it because. I don't know. Maybe because it looks like a bull crawfish. You eat those crawfish, suck the heads on them. That's what those fish like.
Arkansas is not too far from Louisiana. There's a lot of crawfish that die every year to crawfish boils in the state of Arkansas. So that's pretty cool. Catching a lot of fish in these brush piles. How long did it take you before you had your limit?
Oh, I had a limit like 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
But I had like 5 pounds. And then you go and you catch another one and a short one, and then you got 6 pounds, and then you got 7 pounds. And I didn't do that great, all day I just caught. Maybe I should have went and tried some, bigger fish stuff. I don't know. I was having a good time. I was catching fish. and I know what to do to win. I mean, I know where to go, probably and what to do, but you're only going to get like 4 or 5 bites a day, and you got to
Yeah.
capitalize on those big fish bites in those certain spots. And it's hard for me to grind it out. I like catching
Well,
fish, so
I've done all right in my tournament success. I know you've done a way better than I have, but one thing I learned from early on, it doesn't make sense to really leave biting fish, does it?
no.
Like,
To me, it doesn't. I mean, like I've done that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the bigger ones are there, and what if you leave the next guy pulls up and he catches 5 pounders? Like I don't know. You go somewhere where they're not biting, but at the same time, you got to go where the big fish live, and
mhm.
you gotta target the big fish. Really, that's the key to winning these tournaments. You got to target big fish.
Okay, okay. So, well, we've had a lot of podcasts. We talk about Lake Hamilton, Lake Ouachita, similar lakes like it in the country. Everyone's talking about the A rig this time of year. So let's step away from the A rig. Let's
Hmm.
say that all of a sudden one morning somebody Boyd Duckett or Jim Wilburn wake up with Major League Fishing and they say no more A rigs.
Yeah.
So you can't fish A rigs and BFLs anymore. Let's just say in the state of Arkansas. What do guys take to maybe catch, maybe a more quality bite or just throw something at the fish that, they'll bite? It's just a little bit different.
But I don't know. I mean, the A rig and the live scope hand in hand. I
Yeah.
mean, so if you take away the A rig, I can still throw a single head swim bait with the live scope or live target or whatever. But if you take both of those away, then now you're changing the game. Like what if you took them both away? They say you can't have live scope, you can't have A rig. I mean, you just got to go back to your gut instinct.
Let's just wing this jerk bait.
Just fling it. And dude, I don't even know how I could, since I've been using the live scope so much and spending time with it, I, dude, you get lucky. Like before, I used to just fling a jerkbait out there and I would catch one, and now I'm like, how did I do that? Because I can throw one by a jerkbait. I mean, see a fish, throw a jerkbait to it, and he won't eat it. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do. I turn it off and I just go.
Well,
Like
and I know there's a lot of anglers out there and a lot of YouTube sensations that keep arguing we don't need these electronics. We need to ban electronics. We need to have stipulations electronics. Okay, you can have the greatest electronics in the world. That doesn't put them in the boat. The angler still has to put them in the
no,
boat. And I can promise you that there's been a lot more anglers that would agree they've been more frustrated at live scope than successful with it because they see him come up at it and they can't get him a bite.
yeah.
You know?
No, the cream always rises to the top. I mean, I guarantee you, the same guys that are winning with the live scope, you take it away, they're going to win without it. And that's the same guys that were winning before, they're winning with the live scope. I mean, they're just they got it, they got it
Yeah.
in their gut, like in that, you either
Some
have it
people
or you
can just
don't.
go fish. Some
Yeah,
people are just damn good fishermen.
hmm yeah,
That's just
just
the
all
way it
around
works.
outdoorsman. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, well, one thing I want to bring up about Lake Ouachita that a lot of people don't talk about, and you and I were kind of talking about it before we got on, is it's a big lake. There's a lot of water to cover. There's I don't know how many miles of shoreline, but it's unbelievable the amount of shoreline that's in the lake. It's an unbelievable amount of flooded timber and a lot of points, a lot of secondary points. I mean, ultimately, fishing Lake Ouachita to me is kind of like fishing down here in Florida, Lake Okeechobee. You can get lost really quick because it all looks
hmm
the same.
yeah,
But
you
one thing I
can.
know about Lake Ouachita, especially this time of year in the springtime when the rain's happening, it's got a lot of current flowing through it. So talk to us a little bit about that and how does that factor into catching fish on Ouachita?
Yeah, Washita and Hamilton both. Like that's one thing people don't really talk about. They know the fish are biting one day or they're not biting one day, but it's that flow. Man, the flow changes the way they set up on points, brush piles, if they're going to be on the bank, if they're not. It depends on if the current's inflow or if they're just draining the lake or there's a lot to it. You know, there's it it can make it really, really good when there's current flowing.
For sure, for sure. So, well, going back, you mentioned brush piles is a great, thinking about the angler that's never been to Lake Ouachita, but he's thinking about maybe jackpotting and fishing the BFL Arkie division this year, just to get that experience, just to kind of reach out a little bit. You mentioned a lot about brush piles. you can find, does it matter if a brush pile is relating to a main lake point or secondary point to you or a bluff wall, or it's just, honestly, you got to have the good electronics and you got to find the brush piles that just have fish in them.
You got to find the brush piles that have fish. You can put out brush piles. I have always heard that you put out 10, one of them is going to hold fish. Why? I don't really know. I mean, I don't know, but some brush piles are good. Like I can pull up to a brush pile and be like, there's fish. There's going to be fish here. Or, there's brush piles that I've fished hundreds of times and never caught a fish. I don't know why. They should hold fish, but they don't.
Right.
But
right.
if I was going to, if somebody was just going to show up and just say, hey, I'm from Mississippi or Texas or Louisiana or wherever, and just come down or, come from the north where it's cold to fish, just run the bank. I mean, that's where it's at. I mean, a lot of times you almost just like, it's like gambling. Run the bank, you find you a good bank, good stretch, and you can catch them. And that's the best way.
The very first Arkansas Bass Team Trail, and I see your hat, and Arkansas Bass Team Trail is near and dear to my heart. Great tournament organization in the state of Arkansas. A lot of the BFL Arkie Division anglers fish that as well. I'll never forget the very first, just speaking on terms of what you're talking about, just run the bank. The very first Arkansas Bass Team Trail tournament we ever had was on Lake Ouachita. And the guys that won it, they had a little over 19 pounds. They were throwing A-rigs, and they didn't have a motor. Their motor had blown up. They weren't able to get it in the shop. They weren't able to get it repaired, and they just dropped the trolling motor, went fishing that day, and they caught 19 pounds.
There you go.
I mean, the man speaks for himself. Even though they were running the bank throwing A-rigs, it's just what you just said. Just put your trolling motor down, run the bank, put your little red crankbait on, A-rig, shaky head, maybe it's finesse jig, and you will catch fish doing that at Lake Ouachita and Lake Hamilton for that matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for sure. So, last couple. Yeah. Go ahead, thing.
No. I was just saying, like a lot of times I'll get hung up on like I've always wanted to win the points. Man, in Arkansas it's hard. There are some hammers. I mean, the guys in Arkansas. I mean, and I'm sure that's in every state. You have your local guys that can really catch them. Any state, but I've always wanted to win points like the BFL points or any points. Like I kind of go for that. So I kind of go for consistency. That's why like last year I got like 25th. I knew I could go catch 12 or 14 pounds doing the brush pile thing. And sometimes that gets me. Maybe I should just go for broke. Maybe I should just shoot for 25 pounds every time. I don't know.
Right. So, and you make a good point there. The state of Arkansas has got a lot of great talent in there. And people talk about why is it so hard to fish in Arkansas and what has it produced? Okay, well, names like Larry Nixon, Mark Davis, the Shuffields, Stetson Blaylock, Billy McCagran, George Cochran. I know he's retired now, but he lives right there in Hot Springs. The list goes on. There's numerous of tournament anglers that live in the state of Arkansas, and there's a lot of talent out there that hasn't had the opportunity to make it to the pros. Jeremiah Kendi. I still would not. I would never want to go one-on-one with Jeremiah Kendi. Even down to the Justin Swayze of the world. Like those guys are hammers. And the thing is, they're out there. One thing I have to say about Arkansas versus other anglers in the country is they put their homework in. I mean, it's not uncommon to show up at a BFL tournament and you've got a guy that's been there all week. He's been there 7 days practicing.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to compete with. I mean,
it is.
That's really hard to compete with. So, Justin, final couple questions before we let you go. Going to change pace a little bit with this question. If you only could do one thing the rest of your life, unfortunate things happen. God forbid that never happens to you, but you only could do one of two things the rest of your life: bass fishing or turkey hunting. Which one would it be?
Oh man, don't. It would be fishing. It would be bass fishing because you can do it all year.
Right.
If turkey season was open all year, then we might talk about just turkey hunting. Turkey hunting only lasts a month, and you spend every day. I'm pretty.
So
busy.
I know you're
real busy when my I have a heat and air business, and like I'm solid booked through turkey season right now. Like I've got a lot of calls to do already.
That's not good. Yeah. So, and then last thought, I mean, I know you mentioned the sponsor thing, not really something that you chase after, but you do have some people to support you. You got a wonderful wife and a family. So anybody, before we get off, anybody you'd like to thank that supports you or helps you out in your fishing career there in the state of Arkansas, we would just want to give you the opportunity to do that.
I mean, it's just my family. My family's great. Like, they put up with me, and that takes a lot. So,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. I got good friends and family, and that's just where it's at.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. It's a great camaraderie, and there's a lot of glitz and glamour and goals that people have in this fishing. But I tell everyone, at the end of the day, if you're not having fun and you're not remembering what this sport is all about, and that's just going fishing and having fun and having camaraderie, you're losing touch, because that's what it was meant to be, and that's what we need to focus on. So, well, Justin, man, it was an honor. I know we've been friends for a long time, but it was an honor to have you on our podcast. Thank you for joining Revital Outdoors. And we hope to talk to you again soon. I mean, we're having pre-tournament and post-tournament podcasts. So if we have you on here again, that means, hey, we're doing something. You were able to put it together this year.
Yeah, I'll get on something good. I'll come on here next time. I didn't know you wanted the waypoints. I'll get them. I've got 7 good brush balls, 3 on Ouachita and 2 on Hamilton, and 1 on the Gray. I can hook a guy up with those.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man. I need those. I need those waypoints. In fact, you've been promising me waypoints since 2012.
Yeah.
What takes so long, man? You're slower than FedEx right now.
Yeah. My printer is broke right now.
Oh, your printer's broke.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. So that's great. So, well, Justin, good luck this year, buddy. We're going to be pulling for you, and we hope to have you on here again. And
yes,
man, just have fun doing what you're doing. Just keep being Justin, because it works out really, really well. So
I'll try.
Okay, cool. From all of us at Revital Outdoors. Yeah, absolutely, buddy. It's an honor to have you. And another great Arkansas angler right here, Justin Swayze. So from all of us at Revital Outdoors, I'm Theron Asbury. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. We had way too much fun with this one. And good luck to all the BFL Arkie Division anglers this year in 2022. And make sure you subscribe to this podcast. And we're going to talk to everyone very, very soon. God bless, guys.